Hello my witchy friends, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. My name is Sophie, I'm the Midwest Magician, and today I wanted to do a book review of Throwing Bones by Mystic Dylan. If you've been interested in learning more about clairvoyancy or just diving deeper into divination in general, this book might just be for you. Just a quick couple of disclaimers before I dive into the book review. This book was kindly gifted to me from Wiser Books for an honest review. I do not receive any kind of commission or kickbacks if you purchase this or not, and as always, I will be giving you my honest thoughts and opinions. The next disclaimer is that this book review is not going to be exactly like my other ones because this book is more of a guide than it is a book to sit and read front to back, if that makes sense. So I am going to be structuring this a little bit differently. I hope that you still enjoy the review regardless. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So as I said before, this book is by Mystic Dylan. I'm going to go ahead and read you the author bio on the back of the book, just so you have an idea of who the author is. Mystic Dylan has studied the occult for over 2 decades. Now a fully practicing professional witch, Dylan uses the craft to assist both friends and clients in their personal lives. He is currently based in Los Angeles, where he teaches classes, co-hosts the Life's a Witch podcast, and is the co-founder of the Old World Emporium. You can find him at Mystic Dylan Official. I will link his Instagram down below in the description, as well as where you can find this book for purchase. So the first thing I want to mention about this book is that it is just beautifully illustrated. This book is visually very stunning to look at, and it's definitely something that I just want to keep out rather than putting away on my bookshelf. I will flip through and show you a few pages as I talk about what this book is all about. The little blurb on the back says, "Discover a divination system that delves deep into your psyche and helps you peer into the future, explore your past, and address issues in your present." And I feel like that is a very accurate description of what we are getting within this book. Now, this book is only 6 chapters, and the 6th chapter I really like because it includes a bunch of different boards for you to use for your divination. And while this book is quite small, it is mighty. I'm someone who's very familiar with a lot of different types of divination, and I found myself learning a bunch of new information within this book. And while it is more of a beginner book, especially if you're learning clairvoyancy, I've mentioned it before, I personally love beginner books because I find myself learning something new regardless of how long I've been practicing. And as far as clairvoyancy goes, I am brand new to this art. So the book in total is 124 pages if you count the index, dedication and thanks, and continued reading. It's 127 pages. What you can expect within this book is an introduction to our author, Mystic Dylan, the actual introduction to the book. They go over what divination is and the different types of divination. They also go into the clairs and understanding your psychic senses, as well as different traditions and techniques. So chapter 1 really focuses on clairvoyancy, which is the art of casting lots. They talk about building your arsenal, building your clairvoyancy kit. They talk about the concept half in, half out, as well as going over preparing for your clairvoyancy reading. There is also a cleansing and consecration rite, as well as a protection ritual within this first chapter. Chapter 2 goes into necromancy. I really enjoyed this chapter. It's not very long, but I feel like I personally got a lot out of it. There is a necromancy incense recipe as well as a ritual. Chapter 3 is all about different scrying techniques. You can use Venus glass. They talk about using oil and water for scrying. This book goes over cup reading as well as a cup reading ritual, and it also goes into scrying symbolism, which I personally found so helpful because rather than sitting and Googling spiritual meaning of cat, this book has it right here in one spot for you. And while it doesn't have every single thing that you could see while you're scrying, I feel like it does have a very comprehensive list that is very easy to understand. Chapter 4 is all about pendulums and pendulum dowsing, and my personal favorite thing about chapter 4 is how it goes over the different materials that your pendulum can be made of and what the significance of those materials would be as far as your divination goes. Chapter 5 is the longest chapter in the book, and this goes over a ton of different forms of divination. I just counted, and it is 9 additional forms of divination, as well as a 3-card spread for you to practice with. And as I said, chapter 6 is going to be all of the different boards that you can work with within this book. I personally think this is such a fun idea to include in a divination book. It teaches you how to cast your lots on a board and then has a bunch of different options for you to choose from. I'll flip through a few of them just so you have an idea of what these different boards look like. Some of my personal favorites are board number 4, which is the Oracle. It talks about things like what your highest vision is, what resources will sustain that vision, in what ways can you refine your vision, how you can share what you've produced, and what is being gained from all of this. Another favorite of mine is the next one, the All-Seeing Eye board, mostly because it kind of reminds me of a spirit board, but I feel like it would be really nice to use both for throwing bones as well as pendulum work. Another favorite of mine is board number 13, which is the Prophetic Pendulum. This one does take a little bit of work. It has an explanation on how to use this board, but I think it's a really cool way to kind of delve deeper with pendulum work. Now, my personal favorite part of this book is going to be chapter number 1, and that is going over the art of clairvoyancy. This is where it really gets into building your own bone throwing kit, and I really personally love how this chapter dives so deep into the different meanings of the bones that you can choose from. And it also does talk about how you don't just need bones to have a throwing kit. And it does also provide a very comprehensive list of different curios and things around the house that you can add to your kit and what they could symbolize within your kit. Within this chapter, I do also really appreciate that they talk about half in, half out. Without spoiling anything, really the idea is maintaining a balance within your spiritual practice and within your divination practice. We really want to maintain a level head and a sense of groundedness when we do this type of work, and I think that's such an important thing to talk about within a book of divination. I really enjoy the writing style of this book because I do feel like the way that Mystic Dylan wrote this book is kind of as if he is guiding you. So while everything is very informational and goes into a ton of detail for you, it's presented and written in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming and feels like someone is here to walk you through everything. I personally think divination is something that is a little bit tricky to learn, especially when you are on your own doing it, but I really feel like this book does a great job guiding you without leaving things too open-ended. But it does also leave room for you to interpret things on your own as well. As far as dislikes for the book, I can't really say I have many dislikes. I wish it was a little bit longer just because I enjoyed it so much. This isn't really the type of book that you sit down and read cover to cover, although I definitely did do that. I think the pacing works out really well, especially because if you're going to be practicing these forms of divination that are mentioned in the book, it's not something that you have to sit down and read cover to cover. It's something that you'll pull out the book kind of as needed within your practice. I felt a personal connection with this book because the art of clairvoyancy is something that I've really wanted to include in my practice, and I really didn't know how to get started. It kind of felt like this book came into my life exactly when I needed it to. So again, I am very thankful and grateful to Wiser for sending this my way because it has been such a help within my practice. So who should read Throwing Bones? If you are someone who is interested in learning about throwing bones, if you're working on building your own kit, or if you're someone that really wants to look deeper into different forms of divination, I feel like this book is a fantastic resource. I know personally I already have and will be pulling this book out a lot as I continue to build my kit up. It's not entirely done. I've been really taking a lot of time to be intentional with the items that I select for my kit. So once I do have that built, I will definitely share it here on the channel. I would really love to know your thoughts. Have you read Throwing Bones? Do you personally have a clairvoyancy kit, or is this a practice that you're interested in learning about? I really hope you guys enjoyed this book review. I had a lot of fun working through this book, and again, I'm going to be continuing to work through it as I build up my kit. If you made it to the end of the video, can you leave a little bone emoji? I love to see who watches all the way to the end. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I will see you guys very soon for the next video. Bye.